Whispers that aren't yours. Footsteps in empty rooms. Tonight we dive into the shadows of hidden horror, psychological horror that twists your mind. Supernatural thrillers drenched in paranormal suspense. And cult classic horror so unhinged you'll laugh before you scream. These are the 10 spine-chilling horror movies you never heard of, but after this list, you'll wish you hadn't. Number 10. Laid to Rest, 2009. A coffin, silence, and then, panic. This psychological horror wastes no time dragging us into raw survival.
Tucker tells me he picked you up on the street coming from my cemetery.
I saw a man that tried to hurt me. Oh, I know, I'm already dead.
A woman wakes in a coffin. No name, no memory. She claws her way free, only to face Chrome's skull, a masked predator who doesn't just kill, he films. Every attack becomes a grotesque performance. His chrome mask gleaming under cold neon light. Director Robert Hall leans hard into slasher brutality, splattering gore across desolate towns and fog-choked roads. The memory loss isn't just a gimmick, it makes the chase more suffocating. You can't even scream your own name when death calls. For me, Laid to Rest slashes its way to a 7.5 out of 10, a tense, mind-bending horror for fans who miss old-school slashers but crave sharper blades. Watch with the lights off, and tell me you don't flinch at every shadow. But if identity is fragile, what happens when reality itself vanishes? Number 9. After 2012. 2 survivors, an empty town, and silence that hums with menace. This supernatural thriller doesn't scream, it whispers.
You understand that this can't be happening, right?
Well, it is happening, isn't it?
Freddie and Anna awaken after a bus crash, only to find their hometown swallowed by emptiness. Houses stand still, streets echo hollow, and something unseen circles closer. Like fog with teeth, the terror isn't in what leaps at them, but in what refuses to appear. Time bends, shadows stretch, and suddenly you're unsure if they're alive at all, or trapped between worlds. Ryan Whitaker delivers a slow, dreamlike horror that feeds on isolation. It's unnerving, surreal, and suffocating in its quiet. For me, After earns a solid 8 out of 10, minimal blood, maximum dread, a true lesson in how silence kills. Watch this one alone, and you'll hear your own heartbeat far too loud. But if silence chills you, wait until torture becomes the only language left.
Is anyone there? We're broadcasting from Pearl. Can anyone hear me?
Number 8. Grotesque, 2009. A date night turns to captivity. A basement becomes an altar. And pain itself is the point. A couple is kidnapped by a masked man. No ransom, no demands, just cruelty. Under sterile lights and the hum of medical tools. Their screams ricochet off concrete walls. This isn't about escape, it's about how much flesh can be carved before spirit breaks. Grotesque was banned in multiple countries for its unflinching nihilism. And honestly, it's easy to see why. There's no relief, no hope, no purpose beyond suffering. Watching it feels like staring into a mirror you'd rather smash. For me, it's a disturbing 6 out of 10, not because it fails, but because it succeeds too perfectly in showing human depravity. Approach this one as an endurance test. But if pain isn't enough to terrify you, imagine your neighbors mutating into something hungry, fast, and rat-like. Number 7. Mulberry Street, 2006. Manhattan heat, a blackout, and creatures clawing through walls. This is urban horror with teeth. Inside a crumbling apartment building, tenants face a nightmare outbreak. But the infected don't die. They change into something feral, rat-like, vicious, gnawing their way through humanity. Power grids fail, streets close, and New York itself becomes a cage. The grime of the city drips into every frame, making survival feel not just desperate, but hopeless. The tension isn't polished, it's raw, sweaty, and alive, like an indie apocalypse clawing at your screen. For me, Mulberry Street claws a gritty 8.2 out of 10. An overlooked gem of survival horror that makes the city itself an enemy. Next time you hear scratching in your walls, maybe don't check. But if creatures can't break you, how about killers who make death a live-streamed game? Number 6. Stream, 2023. A family vacation, a quiet hotel, and cameras everywhere. Welcome to Hell, live. The Keenan family checks in for rest. Instead, they find themselves hunted by a rotating cast of masked killers. But here's the hook: every scream, every stab, every desperate run is being streamed. Killers score points for creativity. The audience watches unseen, feeding on suffering like a grotesque sport. It's slasher carnage fused with our worst digital addictions. Think reality TV if the prize was blood. And the result is both absurd and chillingly believable. For me, Stream slices in at a savage 7.8 out of 10. Modern horror that proves surveillance isn't just creepy. It's lethal. If you're online right now, you're already part of the show. But if you think cameras are cruel, wait until you face a curse older than death itself. Number 5. The Curse of La Llorona, 2019. A mother's cry, a child's scream, and a spirit that never forgives. This supernatural thriller pulls folklore into raw terror. Set in 1970s Los Angeles, a social worker discovers the legend of La Llorona, the weeping woman, still haunts the living. Her cries echo in the night, her veil dripping with grief, her fingers reaching for children to replace the ones she drowned centuries ago. Doors slam, candles flicker, and prayer feels as useless as breath underwater. Director Michael Chaves blends folklore with shadowy jump scares, delivering a tale both sorrowful and savage. It's not perfect, the scares can be predictable, but the folklore adds weight to every whisper. For me, La Llorona weeps its way to a chilling 7 out of 10. Watch with the lights out. And maybe, just maybe, don't listen too closely when you hear crying outside. Because the next story takes us to Africa, where mercenaries land in a swamp haunted by something older, hungrier, and utterly merciless. Number 4. Saloum, 2021. Mercenaries, a cursed delta, and spirits that don't stay buried. This supernatural thriller is drenched in myth. The Hyenas, a trio of elite mercenaries, crash in the Saloum Delta, hiding among refugees, but secrets leak, and something ancient rises from beneath the mangroves. What follows is a genre-blending nightmare, half-action, half-ghost story, entirely steeped in dread. The visuals are hypnotic, colors bleeding into fever dreams while curses choke the air. No gun, no blade, no violence can touch what's already beyond death. It's Africa's folklore turned weapon. For me, Saloum storms in at an 8.3 out of 10, a film that feels both mythic and modern. Tragic and terrifying. Watch it, and you'll feel the soil itself breathing beneath you. But if curses shake you, just wait until kindness itself becomes the deadliest mistake. Number 3. Macabre, 2009. Rain falls, a woman stranded, and a family feast you'll never forget. Welcome to Indonesia's cult classic horror of cannibalism. A group of friends offers a stranded woman a ride. But her home isn't sanctuary, it's a slaughterhouse. Inside the mansion waits a family bound not by love, but by hunger, eviscerations, cannibalism, secrets rotting in the basement. The Mo brothers deliver Indonesia's take on the killer family subgenre. And it's as bloody as it is relentless. Arterial spray paints the walls. And by the end, sanity is the rarest casualty. Macabre is a cult classic horror drenched in sadistic glee. A film that makes dinner tables forever unsettling. For me, it's a gruesome 8 out of 10. A must-see for fans of 90s horror excess. but with an Indonesian twist. If you thought family dinners were awkward, think again. And if you believe family horror ends there, Satan's children are waiting in a high-rise. Number 2. Satan's Slaves 2, 2022. A storm, a blackout, and whispers rising from the stairwells. This is supernatural horror at its most claustrophobic. The surviving family from Satan's Slaves seeks refuge in a Jakarta high-rise. But safety collapses as a violent storm cuts power. Darkness swallows floors. Elevators descend into hell. And one by one, the dead rise again. Joko Anwar builds a suffocating nightmare, turning every neighbor into both victim and vessel for something ancient. The walls sweat dread. The corridors choke on screams. Evil here doesn't end, it waits. Patient, festering like mold. For me, this descent earns a chilling 8.6 out of 10. A masterclass in spectral violence and familial horror. But if blind hallways terrify you, imagine being stalked when your own vision begins to fail. Number 1. Julia's Eyes, 2010. A sister dead, a killer unseen, and eyes slowly going dark. This is psychological horror at its cruelest. Julia's twin is found hanging, written off as suicide, but Julia knows someone was there. As she digs deeper, her own eyesight decays, plunging her into a world of shadows where a faceless presence lurks. Watching, waiting, the dread builds not through gore, but through blindness, the terror of losing control of your own senses. Directed by Guillermo Morales and produced by Guillermo del Toro, Julia's Eyes is pure psychological horror. A spiral of paranoia that makes every flicker of light feel like salvation. For me, it's a piercing 9 out of 10, tense, heartbreaking, and unforgettable. Watch it, and you'll never trust the darkness in the corner of your room again. 10 movies, 10 nightmares. From psychological horror that warps the mind, to supernatural thrillers that claw through reality, to cult classic horror soaked in blood and laughter. These are films that don't just scare, they linger, whispering long after the credits roll. But the question is, which one left you coldest? Which movie scared you the most? Dare to comment below.